cities all across the nation facing budget shortfalls because of the coronavirus. Spokane is no exception. How big of a deficit we're facing and what the city's doing about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty terrifying to see him so lethargic and have no idea what's wrong.
A local mom opens up about her 10-month-old child being diagnosed with the coronavirus, her story, and her warning tonight.
Big changes for high school sports in Washington. Football being pushed back several months. We'll tell you how other sports are being impacted.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Regina Ahn.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get straight to those big changes to high school sports in Washington. The WIAA held a meeting tonight to modify the 2020-21 sports schedule. Here are 3 things you need to know. Football, girls soccer, 1B, 2B boys soccer, and volleyball have all been moved to the spring of 2021. Winter sports will start in January, and spring sports will begin at the end of April. Meantime, Sports Director Brenna Green has more details about the announcements made at tonight's meeting.
WIAA Executive Director Nick Hoffman opened his press conference on Tuesday night saying, quote, dates are definitely in pencil. The high school sports schedule that was released is the definition of tentative. For low-risk sports to happen, counties have to be in Phase 3. For medium-risk sports to happen, counties have to be in Phase 4. And for high-risk sports, such as football, counties have to be in Phase 4+. That's a phase that's not even defined by Jay Inslee right now. There are some counties in our area that are in Phase 3, but those counties are all lower population areas. So let's go through the plan that was released and see what would happen if things go, well, according to plan. As of right now, cross country and slow pitch softball will start practice on September 7th. Their seasons will run through November 8th. We want to clarify one thing from the WIAA's schedule released tonight that was a bit murky. Schools can offer golf and tennis in the fall, which is not their traditional seasons, but championships won't be played until season 4, which starts in April. Season 2, which includes basketball and wrestling, would start the week of January 4th and wrap up the week of March 1st. What does become interesting is many boys who play football and girls who play volleyball also play basketball, and those seasons will overlap under this plan. Football practice starts on February 22nd, while volleyball, girls soccer, and 1B and 2B boys soccer practices would start the week of March 1st. Football would go through May 9th, and volleyball and soccer would go through May 2nd. Finally, traditional spring sports seasons would start practice the week of April 26th. Those sports would go through June 27th. Got that? Yeah, lots of changes, and there definitely will be more coming. Let's go through some of the tidbits we learned, though, during tonight's WIAA presser. Hoffman noted that there could be multiple state championship trophies within classifications this year. Teams would be crowned essentially regional champions. This would happen if it became too risky to have kids traveling across the state in a pandemic, and would also help schools with not having to spend as much money on cross-state travel. I know I've got a lot of parents watching here. We were told that the Department of Health will be the ones making the decisions in terms of if fans can attend games. One of the reasons why all fall sports right now are outdoor sports is it does give more flexibility for fans. The WIAA was asked what would happen to sports if all schools were online learning. They said they don't have any concrete answers for that right now. And our final question is, quite simply, what's next? The WIAA is meeting July 28th, and they will create benchmarks for the WIAA's essentially fall season to take place. If those criteria aren't met, then all fall sports will be moved to season 3, which is currently where football, volleyball, and most soccer teams reside. That would mean that we would not have any high school sports until 2021, and that we could be fitting in 3 sports seasons in the span of 6 months, going from January to the end of June. Hoffman noted to us that the WIAA board normally meets 4 to 5 times a year. He said they've already met 14 to 15 times, and they've got another meeting on tap next week. We'll see what comes from that. Back to you guys.
All right, Brenna, thanks so much. Well, today was definitely toasty out there, and we saw the 90-degree weather up until 7 p.m. tonight. Our meteorologist Thomas Patrick out on the Weather Center for us. So, Thomas, what can we expect the rest of this week?
Yeah, we're definitely going to get more 90s, not just this week, but especially next week as well. But let's recap today because it was the hottest day so far in 2020 in a lot of locations, including right here in Spokane at 94 degrees. And we did get that triple-digit heat in central Washington as expected as well. What about right now? It's still pretty warm out here. I gotta say so myself. Last hour it was still 80 degrees as of 10 o'clock. Finally got down into the 70s and 60s in most locations. Still 82 in Lewiston though. Think about that. 82 degrees at 11 o'clock at night. Not going to be the coldest nights or even tomorrow morning. So I think we're ramping up for yet another 90-degree day ahead of us for tomorrow. So pretty much sunny skies, sunrise to sunset, low 90s in the afternoon hour. Look how warm it gets at the noon hour, like 86 degrees. So it will be plenty hot. If you're hoping to get a run or a jog outside, the morning hours is definitely your best bet. And even if you can get out there before sunrise, if you wake up that early, all the more power to you. But what about next week? More hot weather, but I bet it's even hotter than what it was today. So I'll show you just how high those temperatures can climb, even on top of what we got from today's hottest weather of the year. I've got that in a few minutes.
Looking forward to that, Thomas. Thank you very much. In the meantime, here's some more of your top stories from today. A Spokane Valley mom says her 10-month-old son tested positive for the coronavirus. She describes the situation as one of the scariest moments of her life.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty terrifying to see him so lethargic and you have no idea what's wrong and just the unknown. And we're so lucky to have a healthy baby. And then when that's ripped from you and you have no control, it's the scariest feeling in the world.
Woodworth says she didn't know how her son contracted the virus. She says she never thought the coronavirus would infect her family, and she's now asking people to wear a mask. She says her son's condition is improving, but he's still being monitored closely at the hospital tonight. Best of luck to them. The Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs reported that one of its staff members in the Veterans Home in Port Orchard tested positive for coronavirus. That employee is now self-isolating. They said the employee was wearing PPE at work and followed state health guidelines. The employee began experiencing symptoms on July 16th. The Veterans Home is testing anyone who came into contact with that person for the coronavirus, and they say they're cleaning all the areas that person worked in. In the meantime, the Spokane Regional Health District announced they are temporarily closing curbside coronavirus testing at Garfield and Willard elementary schools. It's due to high temperatures and road construction at the school site. SRHD representatives said that individuals who are underinsured or don't have a primary care provider and meet the COVID-19 symptom criteria should continue to refer to their website. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced today that Washington's been added to their travel advisory list. Washington now one of 31 states on that list. Anyone going to New York will need to quarantine themselves for at least 2 weeks. All right, still ahead this evening, the pandemic is hitting city budgets hard. Spokane, no exception. Our political reporter, Casey Decker, looks at the data to see how big of a deficit Spokane's facing and what city leaders plan to do about that. Coming up next.